just in my head. You're not here. You're just in my head. You're not here. You're just in my head. You're not here. You're just in my head. Hello again. My name is Mason. If you guys didn't see the first video diary, I don't know if people are watching these in order or not. Surprisingly enough, I was actually able to get some sleep last night, so I guess these video diaries are starting to show a little progress, maybe. But tonight is April 19th, and it is 3 in the morning. And obviously you know what? Fuck it. I have a story to tell. And I hope you're willing to listen. So, I guess sit back and get something, because this is a story of some pretty big irony, honestly, especially considering what this month is about. It's so ironic. On this very day, at 4 p.m. in 2012, something occurred. I'm going to take you back to the beginning. Back whenever it was me and 3 other people. There is, for namesake, we're just going to go with Alan. There was Jim. And there was Dan. Now, we all 4 were best friends. And we have been since the 3rd grade. And we all got along so well and everything else, and we hung out all the time. It wasn't until 2012, until I turned 12 years old for some reason, that things went wrong. It started off for whenever we were going back to school, and I guess I was growing into myself, or the things that I was going through at that time were really messing with me or whatever, and I don't know, I guess I changed to the point where kids didn't really like me, and they bullied me, they beat me down, they called me a faggot, they tried to spread rumors, they tried to spread some dumbass rumor that I fucked a 1st grader. Can you believe that shit? Somebody stoops that low to the point where they're saying that you fucked a 1st grader. Anyways, basically people wouldn't talk to me. Nobody would really sit with me at lunch except for those 3 guys. Well, actually, Dan and I don't remember what I called the other one. Jim, sorry. It's hard to tell this story. Dan and Jim, they sat away from me because they didn't want the possible shit that I was getting, which I can understand that, and I can get that now. Like, you wouldn't want the shit that I was getting on a daily fucking basis and not telling anyone about. But you know who sat with me? Alan. He sat with me every day at lunch. He still hung out with me inside of school and outside, but we all hung out outside of school. And we became best friends. Like, we became even closer through that time. And then the kids decided to take the bullying to a new level. Instead of spreading rumors and calling me faggot and all this other stuff whenever I wasn't even gay, they decided to start beating me up every day 5 guys to be exact, would just beat the ever-living shit out of me. And it would be to the point where they wouldn't show bruises or anything. They just kick the shit out of places that really don't bruise, like, you know, like your stomach and like your ribs and shit. Just places that wouldn't bruise, or bruises that people wouldn't notice. And I was afraid to speak out because I thought they would kill me. Well, this went on for a little while, and Alan was sick throughout this week that it started. But whenever we got back and it all started up again, Alan came in and he defended me. He came in, he fought them off, and he punched one of the guys, and that's whenever they all got pissed off, and more of them came. It went from 5 to 7, and not only would they beat the shit out of me, but then they started beating the shit out of him. And I couldn't do anything because they already beat the shit out of me, and I couldn't defend myself. I was a pussy, and I was scared, so I'd just crawl up in a fetal position and just get beat the ever-living fuck out of, while Alan, on the other hand, he was trying to fight everything he could, and he wouldn't. Like, it wasn't enough. It was 7 guys, what do you expect? And they would always do it in places where they wouldn't get caught, like bathroom stalls and shit. They messed him up bad, and he lied about it. There was at one point where they blacked his eye, they busted his lip, they almost broke his arm, and he said that he fell. Nobody believed that he fell, but that's what they had to go with. What else could they pin? There was no security cameras or any shit like that. So time goes by, and we're still friends, and we're just getting by, and I'm getting really depressed, and I'm going through home life shit now. It doesn't help at all, and, you know, my school's suffering, so I'm getting screamed at for that, but I was so stressed I couldn't even focus on school. That's whenever he started losing things that made him happy. His girlfriend that he was with since he was 7. I know this is probably like, you know, you're 12 years old, you know, love doesn't hit you that hard, but they were together since they were 7, and, like, it's not like they were very serious, but he was very, very attached to her, and she couldn't take what they were doing to him, and she couldn't do anything to defend it, so she just left him. She just left him, and that destroyed him. I remember sitting up with him that night at his house in his bedroom, him bawling his fucking eyes out on my shoulder, not being able to do anything. After that, he was starting to not care anymore about what the bullies did to him. He just let them beat him over and over. He didn't care. He got up and he walked off. He was so done. He was so fed up. And that's when it came to 3 days before this day. He came to us. Me, Jim, and Dan, we were all just sitting in the living room, and we were playing video games. I think we were playing Mortal Kombat. I can't remember. But I do remember we get a ring, the doorbell, and we open it up, and it's Alan, and he's in tears, just tears rolling down his face, and he looks us dead in the face, and he tells us that he doesn't want to live anymore. So, me, Dan, and Jim, we decided that we would help him out. We were very concerned, and we decided that we were going to try and show him reasons to live. So we spent 3 whole days trying to just show different reasons to live. We even showed stupid shit for reasons to live, at least in my eyes. Like, you know, like, we were just kids. We didn't know anything else to tell him to live for, but we were like, you know, how are you going to play the next Call of Duty if you're dead? And, you know, how are you going to listen to the next Eminem album? And how are you going to be able to do this and that whenever you're dead? And then I just told him straight up that I needed him. Not to defend the bullies, but he was like my only friend really through all the shit. Like, Dan and Jim were there, but Alan, he was in the shit with me. And I tried to express to him how much I needed him and everything. And it wasn't enough. But we didn't give up throughout those 3 days. He didn't smile at all. But we suicide-proofed his house. We did everything possible. Like, you know, we hid knives. We did all that other shit. His mom not even noticing that we did what we did. And we stayed up with him all 3 nights. We did shifts to make sure that he wouldn't do anything. And whenever he had a nightmare and he was screaming, we woke him up. And it was okay. And the first 2 days, it seemed like none of it was working. None of it was doing any good or whatever. It wasn't until this day that he finally cracked a smirk. And then he let out a big smile. But then we get a phone call from our parents telling us that we had to all come home. All 3 of us. We had to go to our separate houses and we had to go home because we've been staying at Alan's for 3 days now. It was time to come home. So we did. We thought he was going to be okay. And we even asked him, are you going to be alright, man? And he had the biggest smile on his face. And he said, yeah, I'll be fine. And after we left, before I left, I said, I'll see you at school tomorrow, right? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll be there. Now, looking at it now, I would have had that an immediate red flag, because that's just, you just don't say that, yeah, sure, I'll be there, what? But at that time, I blew it off. I was like, okay. Even then, I knew something was kind of off about it. He closed the door. He locked it. He went upstairs. He went into his room. He wrote a note. And then he went under his floorboard. There was a board in his floor that was faulty, that you could hide shit in. At least that I've learned now. But there was one where he hid shit in. And under that floorboard was a gun. Loaded. He cocked it back. And he pulled the trigger. We got home. And it wasn't even 20 minutes after we were home that I get a phone call from Alan's mom, crying and sobbing, trying to get out words, but she couldn't because she was crying so hard. She finally, after sobbing for 5 minutes, was able to utter the words, "Alan's dead." I remember hearing those words and just having a shock of panic inside. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, my heart was racing, my head was racing, like, my mind was racing, my heart was, everything was just going a million miles an hour. I couldn't believe that my best friend is gone. He's dead. I can't get him back. I can't talk to him. I can't do anything. He's dead. I ran out to his house. By the time I got there were already cops. The cops were already there at the crime scene and everything. And I went upstairs to his room. And I saw he was already in the body bag, but I saw the blood. And I saw the gun. And I saw the floorboard torn out. And I found the note. The note, I don't know who all it was written to, but I know that a lot of it was for me. And I read that note, and I can't say what that note says because it's too much for... I can't. I'm sorry. Whenever I read that note, there were 2 promises I had to make, or was asked to make. And I made those promises. I think the thing that hurts even worse is that I broke those promises. The 2 things he asked of me, I couldn't do. I couldn't keep. And I have such a strong moral against promises. I never break promises. But I broke his. 2 of his. There's irony in all of this. The irony is this fucking Suicide Awareness Month. The month where it's supposed to raise awareness for suicide. That you're not supposed to kill yourself. It's not the answer. And I lose my fucking best friend on this month. That's the irony, but the kicker, I think the shittiest part of this for me, is I suppressed it. I suppressed the memory of Alan. I suppressed the suicide. I suppressed everything that happened afterwards. I suppressed him entirely. I didn't even remember it until just last year, when my ex-girlfriend had a death in the family at exactly this time, on this day. And it triggered every memory. I could remember everything as clear as day now. Alan, I'm sorry for suppressing you. I'm sorry. That is shitty of me, as your best friend, as just shitty in general to just suppress someone like that. I wish I would have suppressed all the other shit I went through. Not you. Alan, I don't know if you are hearing this, or can hear this, or are seeing this from anywhere. I don't know if heaven hits YouTube or not. You know what? Fuck it. It's wrong of you to give you a fake name. Alex, I missed you. I miss you so much, man. Not a day goes by that I don't think about you. I wish you were still here. I mean, I know you would be miles away now, but just being able to maybe like text you over Facebook or something. But now I can't even talk to your grave. I'm sorry I had those bullies. Maybe if I didn't, maybe if you never met me, maybe if I stayed here instead of going there, then maybe you would still have a life. And maybe you would still be a happy little introvert with your girlfriend and your friends. I'm sorry that my bullshit took that away from you. I'm sorry that my bullshit took away your happiness. I know that you didn't have to defend me. I know that you didn't have to fight. That was your choice. But I still feel it's my fault. I could have done so many things to keep you here. I could have reported it to counselors. I could have talked to your mom. I could have done something other than try and do it myself. We all could have done something. I would have rather had you pissed at me and alive than dead. This is the first year since it happened that I've known what this day held. I'm sorry I suppressed you. And I'm sorry I broke the promises. I'm sorry I left. To anyone watching this who is thinking about suicide or killing yourself, same thing. I'm sorry I'm a wreck right now. If you are thinking about doing this, don't do it. Because it doesn't solve the problem. It makes it worse. It may end for you, but it's just beginning for everyone else. Suicide truly is the most fucking selfish thing you can do. If you are thinking about it, think about it this way. You may be ending your pain, but you're dragging it onto your mom, your dad, whoever cares about you. You're dragging it onto them. And the thing is, even if it's not their fault, they're going to feel guilty. Do you really want your loved ones feeling guilty for your death their entire life? Don't let them be me. Don't let them live what I have to live with. Suicide Awareness Month is a good cause. I lost my best friend on this month. Look what it's done to me. Before you think about pulling that trigger, jumping off that chair, or slicing your wrist or throat, think about who else you're going to hurt. Think about what you may possibly get. Nothing possibly. You might just have nothing. Everything just goes black. It is not the way to go. Take it from someone who's had the blade to their wrist, to their throat, and a rope around their neck at one point. Alex, I hope that you're sleeping peacefully wherever you are. And I hope I'll see you again someday. Be cool to be able to hang out and do the stupid shit we used to do as kids. Love you, man. Sleep peacefully.